Okay, so this one really excites me. So one of the things that our sales teams are always telling us is they're not sure where to start in terms of who they want to target, what leads they should reach out to, what lists they should start working today. So put yourself in this position. What if you could rock up to your computer in the morning and actually get a load of lists of companies which have shown intent for your products or your services without even filling in a form? So that's what we're going to discuss today. There's a tool called Buyer Intent within the HubSpot Breeze functionality platform today. Identify what companies are on your website, what pages they're visiting. So this tool will actually look at probably over 200,000 external websites to identify companies that are looking for your products and your services, and you can decide what they are, what type of segments they might be in, what type of markets they're in, and you can get all these lists created for you. We're going to have a look at this, and Mon's going to drive the screen here and take you into the Buyer Intent tool and show you some of this magic.
Some feedback that we consistently get from our clients is, how do I know which companies I should engage with if they're not in my CRM? And a lot of people view their website as mainly a marketing tool, whereas your website can also be a fantastic business development tool. Now, within your HubSpot Marketing Pro subscription and Enterprise subscription, you can get active website visitor data. When you go in, you can see an overview, but the most important thing that you can look at is your visitors. Now, what you can see here is a list of visitors that are going onto your website in live time. What the name of that company is, what industry they're in, their size, how many pages they viewed on your website, and how many unique visitors are going through to your website. Now, if they're already in your CRM, you'll see that they've got this HubSpot icon on the right. But for the most part, as per this list, you can see a lot of these companies could very well be companies that we've missed, especially if they match our target markets, which could be information technology and service, real estate and marketing and advertising, and beyond. You can also go down further by filtering out exact traffic sources, the country for these visitors. If you were looking to see anyone that came from a specific domain, or if they're looking at specific pages on your website. As Simon alluded to, if you only want to see people who are looking at a specific contact us page, service page, case study page, or even meeting link, you can filter all of that out here. In the configuration, you can also make this targeting straight to the point by putting in your target markets to only show you companies that you're interested in. And you can also filter these by segments, as well as any of the companies that you already have in your CRM, or filter out any companies that are not in your CRM. What this does is gives that business developer full access to that company's LinkedIn page. So it'll immediately open that company's LinkedIn page, because the next step from here would really be to go find these contacts. HubSpot does not pull in this contact data. So that really gives that business developer a much stronger talking point by looking at the pages that these company contacts have visited. Here you can see we've had a few meeting links from Lost Media that have been viewed, as well as a few forms. It shows you the top pages as well as the recent pages and any research or keywords that has led them to your website. In this way, if you reach out to those contacts, you already have a strong starting point for your business case to nurture those contacts into your CRM. For existing contacts, you could create a prompt or even a task for that contact lead owner to easily follow up with any of the contacts from the companies in your CRM to reach out to them and re-engage in sales conversations.
Seen a lot of instances where sales teams are always trying to get feedback from marketing and say, well, where are the leads? We know you're spending money on Google ads and a lot of paid acquisition budget's been going out into the ether, but they're not really seeing those leads coming through, filling out forms or getting in touch. So the fact that you said you could actually look at where the sources come from, this is kind of gold dust. So you can actually say, well, look, we know we're running Google ads campaigns. They're going to be bottom of the funnel targeted types of inquiries, but maybe they're just not converting. We can then segment that see the companies who are coming from that paid search source, and then put them into a prospecting list to reach out. Now that is getting right down into the bottom of the funnel, the high intent companies. And of course, then we can start to place our time there rather than looking at other leads that might be a little bit higher up the funnel.
Some other features in the buyer intent tool that I also see are very beneficial is actually going and setting up intent signals. This is where you can essentially set up a range of signals that you want to track for each of the companies that you've specifically targeted. So you can set up automated tracking within your buyer intent tool. Now, as soon as you set up a company as a target account in your Sales Hub, you can start triggering their account signals and flick this on, and it would automatically add those companies to signals. Here you can see you can also stop tracking companies. When we look at the settings for tracking signals outside of your CRM, other than the industry, for example, you can see that HubSpot has divided this into a very nicely color-coded category. First is news. The next is research, which you set up, visitor intent, as well as contact job changes or even email bounces. These are all tracked automatically using the company domain.
A lot of sales teams, they do look for these triggers, as a reason to kind of start conversations. So there's a few on that list where, traditionally you would actually have to go to LinkedIn. You would have to sort of see if somebody has maybe moved job or they've got a new person in position, because quite often that's a trigger. I mean, for example, for a company like us, it's quite common that when a new marketing director comes into play, they tend to have new ideas, they tend to have new growth plans, and it's a good time for us to start those kind of conversations. So it's really useful for that. And there's even one there for mergers and acquisitions. And again, a lot of companies will want to sell their services and their products into companies who are growing or who are going through more complexity. Think software systems, think operational type savings. If you start to have that information there, you've saved yourself the time on going to external websites or trying to go to LinkedIn and doing all of that research. So the fact that you can get this and have it in a list ready for you is gold dust.
Feature that I really love about the buyer intent tool is that the setup of this tool and the configuration is really minimal and user friendly. The main areas that you need to set up are your target markets. Second to that, what I've mentioned previously is that intent criteria piece. Now, these are those web pages, those high converting web pages that you feel are extremely important. So here you can easily come and add in any of your web domains. You can set up which countries they're visited from, minimum number of visits, as well as the time period that you would have wanted those companies to come to your website within. So a lot of us know that typical exclusions you'd want to add to this intent signal tracking is something like your careers page. But HubSpot will also give you recommendations based on what it thinks you should target. So from there, another key feature is your research intent topics. Now, you can add up to 20 topics on this list, and any of the objects in HubSpot, you can automatically have lists for these target audiences set up in saved views and immediately sent through to your sales team. Again, more email digests to send you the configured view of exactly who is visiting and when. And then finally, you also have the option of tracking any other websites or your website automatically by inserting the tracking code.
One area that I get asked quite a lot, and it's like, well, if we don't have enough traffic coming through to our website, is this tool going to be effective? So I guess there's a few scenarios here. On the one hand, certainly, of course, the more traffic is coming through to their website and the more targeted traffic, is clearly going to provide you some really rich information. But then there's a couple of other scenarios, as we've kind of alluded to here. The one is that it doesn't have to be traffic hitting your website that you can identify. It can be those companies who are researching the types of areas that are relevant to your business, but on external websites. So that's a key differentiator than some of the other tools from the past. And then the third element as well is that if you're doing the likes of email marketing and you've got a large database of people as well, and you're trying to push those people back to your website, then you've got another channel there where you're trying to engage them, you're bringing them back to the website, and then you're starting to see the intent of who's visiting from that particular list as well. So you've probably got 3 core areas of people that you can target, from this tool, which makes it a bit different than what we've seen in the past.
That's a fantastic point, Simon. And if you navigate into your research tab, you can filter down into those key research topics specifically by looking at which of those topics you've set up that people are searching. as well as how much they've researched it.
We're effectively having almost everything in one place. So you can jump over to your other tools in terms of your email sequences or dropping them into the prospecting agent. And so
another great benefit within the buyer intent tool is that it gives you a central place to work from. So if you were working even in marketing, business development, or sales business development, it gives you the opportunity to instantly enroll those companies into workflows that launch marketing campaigns or even case studies for the search criteria that you could have set up for that buyer journey to further the conversation. In your overview tab, it's always going to prompt you through the setup, but it's going to show you how many of these companies are showing research, visitor, intent, etc., have converted to customers, how many companies you're adding, as well as popular automations that you've set up that are being used to add these companies to segments, workflows, and send out those weekly task digests to your business development team.
We've talked about the crossover here between sales teams and marketing teams with this tool. And I guess one of the questions that is going to come up here is going to be, who actually uses it? Is it the marketing team that's using this? Is it the sales team that's using it? Is it a mix of both? I mean, where would the typical use case be? Where would marketing do their bit? And then when would it hand over to sales, you think?
I've seen happen a lot within the buyer intent tool is that it is more frequently utilized and automated by the marketing team. Those weekly digests are set up and workflows are created that those leads can be enrolled into to automatically create leads within your lead object and send out tasks and internal email reminders to your team to notify them that certain intent signals were triggered, such as mergers and acquisitions or new product launches. It can be used in unison, but a lot of teams also who are smaller, who don't have set marketing teams, do have a team of business developers who can hop onto the tool, and it really takes away from that cold calling piece or makes that cold calling piece more efficient. Rather than just looking for leads and reaching out without knowing any data, you go with a set of sales enablement tools, knowing which pages they visited, what their possible search intent queries are to immediately address their pain points, add them to your CRM, and then utilize tools like LinkedIn Sales Navigator to get those contacts into your CRM as well.
You kind of got a choice there where you can almost have it running in the background and just have lists of prospects or prospective companies for salespeople to reach out to. So that's all they're doing. They're looking at lists. Or you can go a step further, give the sales team more filtering capability and more data behind it to maybe refine those lists a bit further. Okay, so that is the buyer intent tool. So if you are a sales or marketing team in the B2B space and you want to identify companies who are researching your products and your services without them even filling in a form, then the buyer intent tool is for you.